In a world that moves fast and forgets easy, veterans, after they take off their uniforms, coaches, shaping tomorrow's leaders today, volunteers, choosing service over self, everyone has a story, and most of them exist because they kept trying. These are the stories, so they are not forgotten. My name is Bill Lau, and this is Semper Tri, because trying beats quitting. Welcome back to Semper Tri Podcast. I am here with David Albert. This is one of my cousins, 20 years in the United States Navy, officially retired. And I'm pretty sure he did submarines that whole time. David, how old were you when you joined?
I was 20 years old. I turned 21 in boot camp.
Okay. So what at 20 years old in life, where were you that you decided, okay, now I'm going to join the military?
Going through a divorce, and I lived in a small town, and I needed to get away as fast as possible. And the fastest way was to join the military.
Okay. And you're originally from where?
New Bern, North Carolina.
North Carolina. We're actually recording this in North Carolina, so you got the Blue Ridge Smoky Mountains in the background or whatever, but we're down here for David's daughter's weddings. But besides that, had to get out of North Carolina, 20 years old. And why'd you pick the Navy?
Well, originally, when I took the ASVAB, it was for the Coast Guard. But when I went back into the recruiting office, when you walk into the recruiting office, it's one hallway and they're all off the same one. Well, the only two people that were available was Marine Corps, which I didn't want to go be a bullet catcher. And I'm like, no. And then all of a sudden, somebody pops out of the Navy and he says, "Oh, want to join Navy?" I'm like, well, I need to get out of here as fast as possible. He goes, well, it'll be a few months before I can get you out of here. He goes, let's come in and talk. Talk to the guy. He goes, well, let's get your ASVAB. Try to set that up. I'm like, already did that. So then he was able to pull up my ASVAB, because all the branches can see your ASVAB
Yep.
score. He pulled it up. He goes, that's pretty good. He goes, what do you want to do? I'm like, I don't know. What's the fastest way out of here? He goes, again, it'll be a couple months. And didn't really do a whole lot more after that. Like 3 days later, guy calls me up. He goes, you want to go boot camp? I'm like, yeah, I wanted to go 3 days ago. He goes, be at my office at 3:00 in the morning. You're going to boot camp tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
That's how I went.
Oh, don't you usually have to go through MEPS and stuff like that and swear in? Or
Went to MEPS that day, that very next day, stayed overnight in a motel, and left the very next day.
Okay. And boot camp was where for you?
Chicago. Great Lakes.
Most of the Navy goes there, I think, now, don't they?
Always there.
Always there. Okay.
They
So I know.
down in Orlando.
Yep.
They closed that. So now the Great Lakes is the only one.
Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
me being a dumb idiot, I went in December.
Nice and warm up. And so there's a lot of stories you hear of people joining the military and they're going there to maybe join a different branch and that recruiter wasn't there, or they signed up with something else and a different recruiter grabbed them. So it's kind of funny. Yeah. So like when he signed you up the next day, did you sign for like, I'm going to do this, or it's just, we'll figure it out?
I didn't know until I got to MEP what I was going to go do.
Okay. And that was just going to be submarines to begin with, or?
Offered me, he goes, well, I got two options. You can either go be a boatswain's mate, or you can go be a mechanic on a submarine. Which one to do? I'm like, well, I don't want to go. I said, well, what does a boatswain's mate do? Because I could figure out a mechanic.
Right.
I'm like, he goes, well, you tie a lot of knots and you do a lot of painting. I'm like, no, that's not for me. I don't want to do no more painting. I hate painting.
Yeah. So the boatswain mate, can you explain what that is in the Navy a little bit more? I mean,
yeah,
nicely, because there's other people doing it, but I mean, it's kind of one of those jobs, the way I understand it, where if someone doesn't really have a career field, they're going that way.
Yeah,
probably.
It is. Our boatswain's mate in the Navy, they do a lot of the mooring of the boat or ship, whichever one you want to call it, up to the pier, getting it underway. They take care of all of the mooring lines, the other ropes that are throughout the boat. They do all the shipping and grinding and painting, go that route. A lot of them ends up also being on part of the small boats crew, so that a lot of them get their coxswain pins
Okay.
to be able to drive a small.
Oh, so they're
small
ones
boat.
running the teams in and out, or
Yeah.
whoever needs to be
So
transported.
that's pretty much what they do. But there is a jack of all trades there, but you get the grunt work until you get higher up. Like
Okay.
it's horrible.
Yep. So mechanic, like engine mechanic, like what kind of mechanic?
So I didn't know that either until I got there. So for non-nuclear mechanic on a submarine, you end up doing a lot of hydraulics. You deal with 3,000 psi hydraulics. Then you get 4,500 psi air. End up with all of the water systems, drinking water, sewage lines. You deal with, when it comes with the sewage lines, you can get rid of that stuff with air or with a pump, which we maintain that, plus all of the oxygen systems on the boat. We make our own oxygen. Plus, then you have air purification systems.
So how will, just since you said that, how do you make oxygen when you're underwater?
So you end up taking water from the ocean, you bring it in and you distill it and run it through a series of filters doing reverse osmosis and turn it into DI water. After you turn it into DI water, you try and take that water and use electrolysis to separate the molecules and you get oxygen out of it.
Okay. And then use that for like drinking water and water on the boat too? Or is that a different process? Or?
Same process, different little bit extra process to go on through. There's series of 4 more filters you have to go through in order to make it drinkable, but it still starts out as DI water.
DI, when you say DI, what do you mean?
Distilled. Can't remember what DI. Can't remember.
Okay.
But
we'll Google it later.
Yeah.
So, okay, since we jumped ahead a little bit there, first impression getting to boot camp, 20 years old. I mean, Navy has those yellow footsteps, right? That you stand on when you first get there. I mean,
oh yeah. So when I first got to boot camp, oh my God, I was not prepared. I was not. I did not know how cold it was going to be in Chicago. The recruiter didn't tell me any of that. Oh my God, I was cold.
Okay.
It was so windy. When we got to the airport, right, in Chicago at O'Hare Airport, we got sent to a terminal that wasn't being used. But outside was all these buses. So once everybody was accounted for inside the terminal, then they stood us outside for like 45 minutes.
In whatever you were wearing.
And whatever you were wearing. And I had jeans and a short sleeve shirt.
In December.
10th to be exact. I could not tell you how cold it was, but the wind would kill you.
Yeah. So a little more, what else? Anything about boot camp you remember?
I remember boot camp like it was yesterday, to be honest. It doesn't seem like for real that it was 23 years ago.
Okay.
I'm being honest. I get through boot camp like the first night you show up, right? You're all tired. You've been traveling. You can't sleep. They want to keep you up, right? And you get to this one room and it's like they're testing you. Some guy walks in with a bunch of papers you have to sign. And he's telling you, do not touch anything. You know, they don't want you to touch anything. Absolutely nothing. And it's a pen. It's a click pen on purpose. They want to see how many times you're going to click that pen. If you can follow basic directions. They want you to click it one time to fill everything out and one more time when you're done. If you click it more than twice, don't ask me what happens, but you leave the room. Where those people went, I don't know.
You didn't see them again? Boy, interesting.
Then from there, you get to they call it ship. You get to your ship, your barracks, and you go from there. And it was like anything other than I've ever done. I mean, it was some people are having a hard time with it, but it wasn't for me. I mean, it wasn't hard for me. I mean, I grew up working with family, building houses for a living, hard work. This was not hard. This was,
Just more listening, wasn't it?
yeah,
Follow instructions.
following instructions. But the worst thing I hated was the physical PT. Oh my God. I don't know. You were in the Marine Corps. So did they ever do what they call a sweat party?
I don't know. Tell me.
So a sweat party is you're in your barracks, right? And they'd come in, they'd wake you up early in the morning or in the middle of the night after they done cranked the heat up
Mm.
inside as high as they can and come in and PT you for at least 2 to 3 hours.
No, I don't remember nothing like that.
Make it rain. You get so humid in there with everybody in there and the heat and everybody working out.
I had to smell real good.
I mean, moisture just starts falling from the ceiling. That's why they call it rain party. It is.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So I remember being on the quarterdeck and them making us do push-ups until the sweat pilot had reached both of your hands or whatever. So I was lucky I sweated fairly easy. So that was only 20 to 30 minutes versus an hour or two for some other people.
Yeah.
Okay. So then after boot camp, I mean, now you know how long's boot camp for them? 8 weeks?
Yeah.
8 weeks. And then you got to go to school for mechanic on submarine.
Yeah, depending on whatever you're doing, because I was going submarines, there's another school, right? You had to go to sub school. So sub school is up in Groton, Connecticut. So I left camp on February 14th, showed up in Groton, Connecticut on Valentine's Day. And when I showed up there, I thought there was snow in Chicago. No, there was 2 feet of snow in Connecticut. Woke up the next morning and we were snowed in the barracks.
Oh, jeez.
We couldn't open doors. We had some guys trying to open windows, but the windows don't open for a reason. So we had to wait for somebody to come shovel us out before we could get out. Then through sub school, they teach you kind of like the basics for submarines. And one of the things that is kind of intense is you have to do the escape tower. So the escape tower is they start you out. It used to be called a stinky hood, but it's not anymore. It's basically like a life vest you put on, but it has a hood to it and it's filled with air, right? So an extra source of oxygen, right? So you can breathe normally, but breathe out. If anybody's ever done any diving, it's kind of like that. But you don't have no mouthpiece, no face mask, nothing. You're in a hood that covers your whole head. Well, nowadays it covers your whole body. Your whole body gets filled up.
Okay.
But before it just went over your head. And you start out in a pool, right? You have to go. Their pool was probably about 20 feet deep. And you start out coming in at a 10-foot, right, of it. And you have to turn around and get out. There's a series of tunnels through water chambers, air chambers. You have to get out and get to the surface. That's just the beginning. Once you pass that, then you got to go to the tower, which is 100 foot, bottom to top. And when they tell you breathe out, they're not lying. Breathe out. 100%.
So 100 feet deep water. How do they get you down there?
So you start at the bottom. And
Okay.
the tower's at the top.
Gotcha. Okay. And then there's a way to get in. And
Yep. Just like the pools, the same way.
yeah.
Series of air tunnels, water. You get in. I mean, you're safe. I mean, there's divers throughout the whole entire thing, making sure you get up fine. Anybody have troubles, they're there to help you.
Right.
But
if you don't pass this, probably don't get to.
if you don't pass,
So is there you have to go through like pressure checks on your body? I mean, is there like,
yeah, there is.
Okay.
There's a little bit. Part of it is what you don't realize is when you're going through all of that training, it does do like a pressure test on you.
Okay.
If you can't pass the tower, you don't pass substool.
Okay.
You're booted out.
Like a high failure rate, low failure rate, or don't know, or
Most people that end up going to substool end up passing.
okay.
For the most part, but that tower, I'd say if you had 1,000 people going through it, maybe 20 don't pass.
Is it just more panic why they don't pass?
Not that they can't swim or anything, but it's not about swimming. It's just panicking.
Staying calm.
Yeah. Just breathe out the whole time.
Hmm.
And you wouldn't think you could breathe out the whole time, but you just about can.
Okay.
You breathe out till your lungs feel completely empty and then and continue breathing out. And you breathe out a lot longer than you think. A lot easier to breathe out than it is in a normal oxygen environment like this. Normal oxygen is like 20 to 21%, but when you're in that suit and that hood, you're about 27, 28%.
And then with that being underwater, it's compressed, so it goes in your body, compressed, so you need to breathe out because as you're going up, it's expanding.
Yep.
So yeah, got scuba qual, so I'm guessing that same theory of
Yep.
Whatever. Okay. So how long was that school then, or whatever?
Tell you, sub school was couple months. Then after that, then they send you off to whatever your trade is, whatever you're trying to go into, whatever your job is. Mine was non-nuclear mechanic, which they had 2 schools for that. One of them was, you could either go there or go down to Kings Bay, Georgia, which we'll come back to that because I spent some time there. But I started out there in Groton as soon as I finished sub school. My first school was there. And they kind of teach you the types of valves, different types of valves there are on a submarine, which there's rising stand gate valves, ball valves, stuff like that,
Right.
butterfly valves, teach you some of that stuff. They try to do some of the specialty tools at this point. They hope you know some of the basic tools, basic hand tools. Some people don't. They don't know jack from diddly squat. Most of those people don't make it very far. If they make it through the school, once they get to their job, they don't really last as a mechanic very long because they can't cut it. Then from there, my first duty station was in Washington State. Well, actually, I went down to Kings Bay, Georgia, for my sea school. So during sea school for us, that's where you get more intense, right? You get your EPA certification for refrigeration, which we control all that for the freezer and chill box on a boat, which are massive. We control those, plus the plant that operates it. You end up getting that. You end up going to diesel maintenance school. So when I say diesel maintenance school, it's not like your car, 1 ton, or even an 18-wheeler.
Right.
This engine is Fairbanks Morse, so it's originally designed for a train. So that's what this engine is. The piston size is 38 ND 8 1/8. So 38 is not made designed in 1938. 8 is the diameter of the pistons. ND is Navy diesel. So you end up learning basic with that and it kind of goes more in depth than most people think. And you got to pass that. Then after you finish refrigeration, then you have basic valves school you have to go through. Then it can go more in depth. And you got a hydraulic school, and then you have an air school you have to go through. Then after that, I got to my first duty station was in Washington. My first boat was the USS Ohio, which at the time was still technically a SSBN, but it was being converted to an SSGN.
So what's the difference between the BN and a GN then?
So a BN carries ballistic nuclear missiles, and a GN carries guided missiles, right? Tomahawk guided missiles. So that's they've transferred some of the older SSBNs into and SSGN. So I was in the yard doing that whole conversion. After I did that conversion, it became a GN. But during that time frame, right, once you get to your first boat, you have your 1 year to earn your warfare pin, or earn your dolphins for being on a submarine. That alone is intense because you don't have to just learn your job, right? You got to learn the basics of everybody else's job. And part of that is you got 150 guys down on a submarine, you're the guy that's could be saving your life is standing next to you. So they got to know basic stuff, how to save something, how to stop flooding, fire, something like that. Basics.
Yep.
So you got to know where all the life-saving portions, where they are, where it's located, different things throughout the boat, you learn almost how to be a firefighter, because you have to learn all the different extinguishers there are. You learn how to use a proper fire hose. There's different tactics, how to operate one safely so that you don't hurt yourself or hurt the person behind you. That's part of it, which most branches don't get that. Even people in the Navy, all the surface ships, they don't get that training unless they're actual firemen. So on a submarine, you can do, for one guy, you go to a surface ship, it might take 6, 7 guys to do what that one guy does on a submarine. So you got to learn that. Plus, like I said, the basics. And there's a lot of drawings you got to learn. Some of it's classified. Technically, it's all classified, but different parts of it is secret. Some of it's top secret. Depending on what clearance you have, depending on what you have to learn.
So are there people that maybe don't make it to the subs because they don't have the clearances to make it?
Yes,
So like everybody on the sub probably has to have,
a secret.
right, at least.
Everybody has to have at least a secret to get on a submarine. And if you can't pass the background check, like if you can only get a conventional, you're not going to make it on a submarine.
Okay. So then you get this year to get your, what'd you say, your warfare pin?
Warfare pin, you get your dolphins.
So you don't get that in a year. What happens?
Then, depending on of how well you're doing, whatnot, they could send you to what they call you a second chance, right? Send you to another boat. Maybe it could be the crew giving you a hard time, hazing, rough on you, because they ride you. They find what pushes your buttons, and they just keep going at it.
Yep.
But that's what we do.
Yeah.
And some people let it be known real early what pushes their buttons, and it's real easy. But that's how we wean out the people that
You're right.
don't make it.
Well, you're down there. If you're underwater, I mean, people you can count on, I would think.
So you could get sent to another boat to try to make it, or you end up going to a review board with squadron. And if you get 99.9% of the people, 99 out of 100 people that go to the squadron review board end up getting sent to the surface fleet. So.
And you're already probably about a year in training and stuff like that for this, and then probably get sent to be a boatsman mate.
Yep, that's exactly where you go. You can't make it. You get sent to be a boatsman's mate. Unless only time you wouldn't is if you came in to be like a nuke, someone nuclear trained. But those guys, before they even get to their first boat, they go through 3 years of schooling before they even get to their first boat. So when they show up, they think the dolphins is nothing.
Right. So you're helping refit the USS Ohio. How long does that process take, or how long were you helping with that? Because I'm sure it was started before you got there, but.
Yeah, it started before I got there, but it wasn't much. So I got to there in 2003, couldn't tell you exactly the month, but it was in 2003. I was stationed on there till 2007 when I transferred, and it got recommissioned as a SSGN in like 2000 and late 2005, maybe 2006.
So you got to go out with it or do
I
any?
had to go out. I did all the sea trials after we got reconverted, recertified, which that's a long process. Have to go out to sea several times and be evaluated by squadron and big Navy and stuff like that to make sure your crew is available, can operate a boat properly. And that everything on the boat works the way it's designed, where it's supposed to. So once I finished that was once I did that, I went and did one tour as a SSGN on it.
So can you describe to people listening, can you describe what's that, even if it's just a sea trial? I mean, what is that first sensation of like getting on that boat and like, okay, we're moving, we're going under the water? I mean, what's like a thought process? What do you sense? What do you feel?
Going out to sea for the first time, even though it be sea trials or your first time being out on a submarine, it's unlike anything you've ever experienced. So you end up you start out on the surface, right? And you got to get out to a certain depth. But it's not really about depth, it's about you got to be so far away from the shoreline in order to do certain things. Because a submarine, I was technically it was SSBN, right? So SSBN is 547 feet long, give or take. Some of the boats can be a little bit, have extra hull numbers in there, but that's roughly. So think about that. That's what? Football field, almost 2 football
Right.
fields.
Close.
So you got to have quite a bit of depth below you in order to dive the boat. I mean,
How tall if you put this on land, how tall would one of those stand?
almost
Roughly.
100 feet. A lot bigger than you think.
Right. That's enough.
It doesn't look that big when it's sitting in the water.
Because, yeah, only a few feet are out of the water.
So, and a ballistic nuclear missile submarine has, let's see, one in the engine room compartment, which is back aft. There's like three sections, 3 levels, and the missile compartment, which is center, there's 4. And then if you go up to the forward compartment, there's 3, but then there's a control level up top. So technically 4. And that's different levels, but as you're going out to sea for the very first time, some people get seasick, motion sickness, real easy. You can, because until we dive, I mean, we're round, so it's very movable a lot. So you feel it. Like some people say surface ship is bad. Submarine on the surface is worse.
Okay.
Like through normal transit on the surface, that's like for a surface boat that's built to withstand some pitches, a submarine can roll 20 to 30 degrees to the left, and all of a sudden it's 20 to 30 right back the other way. That quick. Within a matter of like 3 or 4 seconds.
Okay.
So yeah. Gotta have some sea legs on you.
Or you adapt them quickly.
Yep. Or you puke.
Yeah. So then, like, okay, did you ever, like, you see people, like, when the subs are going out, there's people standing out the top. What is that? Do they call that the tower, or what is that?
Nope, standing, or you mean on the top of the boat or up at?
So, like, they got
that's called the sail.
The sail. Okay, perfect.
So those people are normally, when you're going out like that, once everybody goes down below and it's normally like 2 or 3 guys, right? So you end up having the officer of the deck, the guy that's operating the boat, telling them where to go, right? Then you have normally a lookout person, somebody's qualified lookout, and lookout is it's exactly what the title says.
Right.
You're looking out for boats, other boats out there. It could be large craft, small craft, land, lights. Believe it or not, lights do come up. You wouldn't realize it, uh, especially at night. If you're transiting at night, um, you can see miles. And if the water is calm, you can see a lot farther than you think, without any binoculars. So you're looking for everything. And then you also have we have a gunner. Somebody's up there, gun qualified for your safety. Those are normally the three people you have. Sometimes you can get more people depending on what you're doing. If you're coming inbound, you normally have a lot more people. Or outbound to start with, you have a lot of people. But once you past a certain point, a lot of people leave, and normally you only have three.
Okay.
Those three. And those are the last three people.
So then you ever get to like be out there when the boat's moving, be out and actually be able to see around what's going on? Or were you always stuck underneath?
I've done both. I was normally the gunner and not the gunner, the lookout is a junior guy. Who ends up first of all gets qualified helmsman plainsman. So helmsman plainsman, everybody on the boat except for nukes, they have their own because it takes so long for them. But everybody else gets qualified helmsman plainsman. Rite of passage is most junior watch. A helmsman plainsman is driving the boat. So you operate all the planes. You got a fair water planes, which is a forward, a stern planes aft, and a rudder. That's what you do. And by operating those, you dive the boat or raise the boat. So once you qualify that, then you can qualify lookout.
Okay.
Which is going up in the sail. Some people like qualifying lookout, some people don't. There's pros and cons to it, depending on where you're stationed and where you're going. If you're somewhere gorgeous like Hawaii or down in the Bahamas, out of Kings Bay, depending on where you're going, it can be great. But if you're up in Washington, like where I was stationed my first time, that's why I qualified lookout. First time I stood lookout, we were going to Ketchikan, Alaska.
No whales.
No whales. Didn't see any whales, but seas got a little rough. That's a couple times, and at some point, if it gets too bad, right, they end up shutting the hatch, right, and it was just me and the officer deck there, and you're tied in. You're in a harness, lanyard into the boat. So if the boat goes underwater, you're going with it. That happened. That trip was, I couldn't tell you how long it was, but it felt like an eternity. But it was probably only a few, like maybe 10, 15 seconds. But it felt like an eternity.
So when you say you went under the water, I mean, it pitched and went under, or like a wave, or
Wave hit us, and me and him were completely underwater. Completely. And we was just holding our breath like, please, God, let us live through this. It was three times it happened.
Okay.
That trip. Yeah. After that third time, we were like, yeah, we got it. We got to get relieved.
Okay.
Then once you get through those junior quals, then you get to learn your actual job a lot more, right? After you learn your job more, you get more senior. You learn what watches at your rate controls, what you operate. That's the best. So for me, our senior watches being non-nuclear mechanic, i.e., what we call an A ganger, a slang term for it, was machinery 2 watch. So the machinery 2 watch is the guy that operates the oxygen generators. He operates the CO2 scrubbers. which helps clean the air we have, right? And the H2 in the burners, COH2 burners, to help get rid of all those bad stuff. Can't tell you how that works. That is classified. But they do use a chemical that is actually really bad for you, for your health, called monolithiol amine. That's used in the scrubbers. It is really bad for you. Part of it is it causes memory loss.
Okay.
Didn't find that out until after several years, but they still use it to this day. I only found out that what it actually causes until after I retired. That's a whole nother ongoing battle.
Right.
That watch is one of the most important watches because old school way for oxygen, right? We had the oxygen generators were massive, 16 cells on them. Part of the chemical we used, can't tell you what that is. It was basically like an atom bomb, almost like a hydrogen bomb, more like a hydrogen bomb. And you're sitting on it, you're operating it. People are living from it, like 10 feet away. So it is literally a bomb. You turn a valve the wrong way, introduce the wrong thing too fast or too slow, you're screwed. That's the old school way. But nowadays, this all converted to a new one. So your cell is, the 16 cells were probably 8-9 inches in diameter, and they were 6-7 foot tall. Nowadays, it's about the size of a bowling ball, right? But it's not round. It is round. It's round, but it's not a cylinder.
Right.
And that thing probably weighs a couple 100 pounds. That's pretty solid. That's what they use for cells now in the oxygen generator. That's a lot safer. Still, same process. You still use the same chemical, but not as much. It's a lot safer through filters and stuff like that to get there. After that, it can go into one or two places. Either you can vent it into the atmosphere right there in the room, or they have a couple different bleed ports. There's a bleed port in every compartment. So it can go through a series of piping and valves to go into every compartment, or it can go into oxygen storage tanks that are in the main ballast tanks. So the main ballast tanks is, because I know you're getting ready to ask me, what's that? So the main ballast tanks is outside the pressure hole, the people tank, as we like to call it, that we can put air in or water. So natural, given if we want to dive the boat,
Bring in
let
some
the
water.
air out. So the water comes in from the bottom, we let the air out the top. And if we want to drive the boat up, we put air in the top. Water goes out the bottom. It's a grate to the bottom of the boat. So, and these ballast tanks are huge. I couldn't tell you. I mean, they go pretty much the whole length of the boat.
So like you see in the movies or whatever, obviously on TV, they show where one of these nuclear subs does like a high speed and it jumps out of the water. Is that realistic or is that a movie thing?
No, it is realistic, but not for a ballistic because they're too long, too heavy. So the other class of submarine is called a Los Angeles fast attack. Right?
Okay.
I say fast attack, but there's a Los Angeles class, there's a Parche class, a couple different of them. Those boats can go a lot faster and they're a lot shorter because it's basically a ballistic nuclear missile submarine, but you take the missile compartment out, the center compartment, so you only have 4.5. That's all there is.
A lot shorter.
A lot shorter, and they can go faster. They got the same amount of capability, but because a lot less weight, a lot shorter. Yeah,